Okay, we are live. Just hang on, Anam. I gotta do some housekeeping here. Your best buddy, 1,000 Pine Points. Wow, I love this guy. Well, thank you. I'm assuming you're talking about me and not Anam. Maybe you are talking about Anam. And if you love him, well, that's fine too. Rude Tubin, 500 Pine Points to you. And considering a new 250 Pine Points. Let's see here. What else do we got? PineCreek, explain icing and hockey. What is this, a litmus test to see if I'm really Canadian? That's when you're on your own side of the ice, on the red line, and you put the puck all the way down to the other end, to the other red line, the goal line. And that's called icing. Although I think international rules are different than American rules and Canadian rules. Where's Myron? We're estranged. He's still suing me for wrongful termination. He's a jerk. He's a terrible guy. I'd rather spend hours and hours with Christians and Muslims and Jews than spend 1 second with that Myron, the atheist douchebag. Sorry, was that too rude? Hey, thank you, Space Monkey, for the donation. This is for the lawsuit with Myron. Could you pass this on to... What? You want me to give money to Myron to fight against me? He was watching someone else's live stream while my live stream was going on, and he muted me when I had the best monologue of my life. No. Space Monkey, I appreciate your donation, but I'm not forwarding that to Myron. Okay, so I'm going to bring on Anam. Are you ready, Anam? Let's see here.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're ready. Okay. So how do we know each other?
We met on Nathan's show, Digital Gnosis.
Oh, that's right. Is that the first time?
Well, actually, I think I don't know. For a while there, he was making a joke that he was imitating you. So, I think he was like Mini PineCreek or something for a minute.
Yeah. Well,
so you guys do a lot of username stuff, and none of it's to be taken seriously, I think.
Well, he is my protege. I'm his mentor, and I'm the one who led him to Satan and away from Christianity. But I think you're right. We met there. I got a question for you about why we were just talking in Discord just a few minutes ago, and so this is an impromptu interview. But why is so many guys in Discord? Why do they hate me so much?
Yes.
Why do they hate me so much? Oh, we're getting a delay.
Look, I'm thinking actually.
Okay.
Is that a delay, or am I thinking? It's a hard question. But basically, as with any socio-political thing, you're challenging somebody's worldview, and they're kind of like,
they're scared.
I mean, in general, like when you think about, for example, England during the Reformation, right? Whether it went Catholic or Protestant, there was a lot of stakes involved. So again, when you threaten someone's worldview, there's a lot of stakes involved.
What stakes are involved? What are you talking about?
Well, like I said, like one's religion can be. I mean, this is a completely secular statement that I'm making, so it might be. But the thing is, though, in other words, like one's attachment to the religion, it may be simply like a function of a personality, like the way a country is. Actually, that would be agreeing with your analogy before of flag waving, jingoistic phonies. So, like in a way, like the same way one would be attached to flag waving, one can simply have a cultural attachment to religion, or like a unnecessarily.
So these guys on Discord who they view me as an enemy, you think?
Well, I wasn't speaking to the people on Discord.
Oh no, leave that light on.
I was I was speaking to your just in general. Why would a theistic person incredibly dislike you? And then, I mean, this is not my. Here. Well, and since you asked, if you'd asked me, for example, sometimes you might be accused of taking. I mean, I just did this right now, so I can't. It will be the pot calling the kettle black. But you might have taken someone out of context. And instead of saying what anybody else said, let me just, I'm not here to level accusations at you. So this wasn't anywhere I had planned, right? So I'm just responding to your question. So you do a review, and I haven't watch your whole review, so I'm not like it's on. I should have really watched it 2 or 3 times before I'm here.
Which review are you talking about?
Yes, Christine Hayes of the Old Testament Yale Lecture Series.
Oh yeah, okay, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. And so the thing is, though, I feel like if you really watch that lecture sincerely, you see her even. I mean, she's a secular scholar, more or less, but you see her kind of point out the distinctions that the God of Israel has from the pagan Canaanite gods at the time. And so there's new, and also the Babylonian Enuma Elish and all that. So when you look at her entire lecture, I actually find it very deeply moving and moving me towards the book of Genesis, Old Testament theism. Like, like if I wasn't...
Yes. There's probably some people here who have no idea where you're coming from. Can we introduce you first?
Great. So I am, how would I introduce myself?
Well, so let me ask you questions. Maybe that will help.
I'm nobody.
Are you a Muslim?
Yes. So I was born in an Indian Muslim family.
Okay.
But just to add to that, by the way, not to I have a bachelor's degree in comparative religion. So, and it's just a bachelor's degree. So it's nothing to write home. That's from public university. I didn't get it to Columbia. It's kind of, but maybe I could do a master's there.
And, but I seem to remember hearing you say you're Trinitarian as well.
Yeah. So I have come to that conclusion after several experiences.
So you believe you're a Muslim who believes that God exists in 3 persons.
Right. In hypostatic union.
And then I've also remember hearing you say before that you are a person who has an inclination towards Roman Catholicism, or is that not true?
I did say that, but lately I think I just liked early church history a lot rather than, particularly going for where Roman Catholicism has kind of become. But it's very interesting to watch out. But I mean, what really got me tripping on Roman Catholicism was I was studying Sedevacantism. So it was very interesting to see how someone who claims, I mean, this is actually very interesting. I mean, this is an interesting thought I have. But actually, so this actually proves that it's impossible to preserve like a single truth, right? Because we see even, like church doctrines change or amend, or like, as they say, it develops a fuller understanding. But you have more conservatives in the church who say, like, no, we can only have the Latin Mass. And yet they're in defiance of the church in Rome. So rule one of being Catholic is you have to follow the church in Rome. So anyway, I just tripped out on Catholicism for about 2 years.
Okay. And where do you live? You don't have to tell us exactly, but what part of the world are you from?
New York.
New York. Oh, yes. Okay. And I love New Yorkers, and because they usually talk fast and they get to the point and they don't bloviate. So hopefully that won't happen today. I mean, the bloviation part. Okay. And how long have you been a Muslim all your life?
Right. I'm 34.
Okay. And have you been a Trinitarian Muslim for how long?
It's going on like 11 years now.
11 years. Okay. Boy, my guess is some Muslims don't like you if you say you're a Trinitarian. No. In fact, isn't that like... Actually, that's the number one thing.
There's certain mystical wings that can kind of embrace, so they actually ascribe divinity to like many prophetic figures. So it's a very, like, in other words, they become angelic beings. So I feel like there's a synthesis when you get to mystical union.
Okay. Well, should we just start then with why you are a Muslim?
Yeah. I mean, to be frank, I was raised one, and I understood there's a curious phenomenon that most people stay in the religion in which they are raised, right?
Yep.
So like that alone is like pretty curious, right? Like one should think about that. So I actually, even as a 14-year-old, I was like discerning kind of other faiths, and I don't think I ever gave Christianity a fair shake. I was like dogmatically anti-Trinitarian and anti-Christian. And also learning about, church history and contradictions in the New Testament, and how dogma develops and things like that. So, the standard critiques, that atheists and Muslims would level at the New Testament. And
okay, but why?
So I learned that as a 14-year-old.
But besides indoctrination or being raised in it.
So I actually left. I would consider myself at a point as a teenager. I was like, I don't want to say spiritually, but I was perhaps like just socially, I just wouldn't have considered myself anything. And I actually I said to myself, like, I don't know how much a 14-year-old really has the capacity for self-knowledge, But I said that I came back to Islam after considering all the other options.
So you kind of left at 14, you said? Or was it later?
Yeah, I mean, but I don't want to exaggerate how long that was. It might have been I don't know. It's just, and actually, it's funny because even to this day, I don't do the 5 daily prayers. I kind of don't care for them, because it's like ritual is kind of like meaningless to me. Like you should do it from the effusion of warm feelings in your heart. And you're right, that would scandalize any kind of traditional Muslim. No, you have to do your prayers.
So you're raised Muslim. You kind of left for a while when you're a teenager. So what caused you to go back to Islam?
Yeah, I mean, so
what's her name?
You know the Muslim polemics, right? Those arguments about how the Quran is like a perfected text, and it prophesizes certain scientific things, and it has like unfathomable knowledge to an 8th century, 7th century person. And so also, again, like I said, I was kind of an expert at 14 at New Testament contradictions. I was like a little bit too good at that. I was very annoying.
There's contradictions in the New Testament?
And, I could point out all of them, like I had a Gideon's free one, and I had them all highlighted, and I would just like, I don't understand how I didn't get beat up.
But let's not care about Christianity right now, because you're a Muslim.
Yes,
you're a weird one, but
I'm representing Islam. Yes.
So what got you back into Islam? Why do you believe it was? Was it those prophecies about science or the ring structures, or what was it?
So the great thing is, like, I find this also in the book of Genesis. I took a year of Hebrew in high school, so it's like, again, I don't want to exaggerate my credentials, but just being able to approach Genesis, I find there's a certain kedusha, right? That's the Hebrew word for holiness in these texts, which is like popping off the page. And, that's an assertion. I understand, you would read it and not even, approach it that way. But I find that most in the book of Genesis, you could tell me to read other books, and, I could understand the other things are kind of molded by, for example, again, I'm not attacking Christianity here per se, but like the books of the New Testament were written by men. Right, so like that's why Muslim.
But is this the reason why you went back to Islam? Because
right,
because it was
so in other words,
holiness was popping off the scriptures. So,
the knowledge of linguistics grows over time with age, so you have to keep going into the Hebrew, going into the Arabic, and Hebrew and Arabic have the same consonantal roots. So like you're really learning the same semantic.
But was this the main reason you returned to Islam? Because holiness was popping off the pages?
I would not have put it that way, but I would have concluded it was a holy book. Yeah. And also more problematically, it should be followed dogmatically, like the way it's written every day, which is quite problematic.
But how did you figure out it was indeed a holy book?
Well, I don't want to test your patience here, because like I said, I'm sure you've seen Muslim arguments for this, right? So it's funny.
I don't care about Muslim arguments. I care about what you have to say. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. So the Quran says that we sent down iron from the heavens, right? And so I had learned, and I can, you can pull this up on the Wikipedia, and I sorry I didn't do it. But, I had learned, right, that the majority of iron in our planet was sent down by meteorites. And someone had tried to tell me no, very little, and I had actually found the source, and I had found another academic source before that. But, it's accepted that even in the mantle, all of that would have been meteorites just slamming through the thing. Now, look, that's a very generous interpretation. And that's the funny thing. This is why I don't do polemics today, especially not against Christianity, but certainly not against other religions or such. Because, the thing is, though, you're being very generous to your own text, right? Because it literally just says he sent down iron from the heavens, right? So you in the 20th century, 14 years old, are saying that, well, that's the meteorites. And how did an 8th century man know that the meteorites were the source of iron in the mantle and the crust?
So was this? Yeah,
that's convincing enough.
That was enough?
Along that line of things. Like, you want another one? I mean, the embryology, although I'm told that the embryology was known by the Greeks, which would be not in the defense of Muslim polemics.
Do meteorites come from the heavens or from space? Or is there a difference?
Yeah, well, I mean, in the ancient Near Eastern cosmology, the lowest level of heaven is the sky.
Right. So do meteorites come from the sky or from space?
They come from the lowest level heaven, which is the outer space.
So isn't that scripture wrong?
Well, he sent it from the heavens, which is space.
So heavens is space. I thought heavens was basically the upper part of the atmosphere.
No, and so actually, and I'm not trying to pivot here, but another thing the Quran says is that the atmosphere, he created a roof that nothing can penetrate.
Right.
And so, a barrier. And so when you think about it, though, our atmosphere is kind of like a roof because it does stop most of the meteorites from coming in.
But do you think the biblical idea of heavens and space is accurate? Because this gets to if this is sincere, if this is sincerely your reason for going back to Islam, that meteorites have iron, and it says in the text that the iron is from the heavens. But if heavens actually doesn't mean space, but means a part of our atmosphere, then it's wrong.
Wait, but the meteorites would have to come from space into our atmosphere.
Right, but it doesn't come from the heavens, it comes from space. And if heavens is the atmosphere, then your scripture is wrong, right?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Like, in other words, you're right. The sky would be...
So if this is a reason why you're a Muslim, then you should probably leave Islam right now.
No, okay, no. Again, a more generous interpretation, right? So you're right. I did say, well, look, the sky is the firmament. So I may have misspoken if I said the sky is the lowest level of heaven, but like,
I'm being a little too pedantic here.
Yeah, and whether I would refer you to a book by C.S. Lewis called "The Discarded Image." Very fascinating. I only read like half of it because it's so dense, but he actually describes the medieval worldview that we lost with Newton, and like this would have made complete sense to anybody living before like 1500. Like you wouldn't have to ask me all these silly questions.
Twice now you've said that it's a generous interpretation. Why do you give the Quran or the Bible, Genesis, a generous interpretation?
No, well, when I said that, I thought you got me for the first part. So at the same time, though, I was undergoing Christian polemics, right? And I was trying to, I was being very vicious against the New Testament. And at the same time, I was being very gracious towards my own book, being like, oh, wow. Like, and, by the way, like if I could offer one more, right? I mean, like I said, you may, like I said, you're free to, I understand you'll reject this, but to me, I still find most of this interesting, at least in a convincing way. But it says that we created the mountains as pegs. And so we actually know that mountains are shaped like pegs. When you look at the minerals and materials, I don't know if you ever played the game of life. I mean, people like younger than a couple of years, most people on Discord wouldn't get this, but you have to put the pieces of your characters into the car in a peg. So mountains have these giant like iceberg like pegs underneath them, and they actually anchor the earth, limiting earthquakes and stuff in them. I mean, they're created by tectonic plates. But so, when it says we created the mountains as pegs, to me, at the time and even to an extent now, I would have said that's really interesting that an 8th century person knows.
This is a peg. I don't think mountains look like pegs. Or are you saying that underneath them it looks like this?
Right. Underneath the ground, there's an even big, an iceberg. So it's even bigger than the peg. So the peg that you're showing is a small peg. Now imagine a peg that's bigger than the object. So
is this another generous interpretation?
I mean, like I said, and that's a thing, right? So religious polemics play this game where, everything we say is like, infallible, and anything in your book that's must be some kind of damning evidence, crippling evidence, and then you sing about it all day. And to me, that's just not a fun game. Well,
let me ask you this:
it's a game we play, and it's a waste of time.
You said that the Quran talks about the pegs, and the Quran talks about the iron coming from the heavens, right? Or are you talking about Genesis? I don't think it's in Genesis.
Yeah, this is the Quran. This is the Quran.
Okay,
I gave you like 4 examples from the Quran.
Okay, if all 4 of those examples in the Quran were missing, if they were not present in the Quran, would you be a Muslim today?
Yeah, so I think as a 14-year-old, if I hadn't come across some of that and the evolutionary thing, I would have probably gone another way.
Really?
I mean, just trying to estimate. I mean, there's always, it's like sci-fi, but yeah.
So if someone could convince you that this is just a generous interpretation and it's not really scientifically accurate, like what I mentioned with the meteorites actually not coming from the heavens but coming from space, because heavens is part of the atmosphere according to the Quran. If I were to convince you of all four that this is not actually accurate, would you leave Islam?
Okay, right. So
would you leave Islam if you were convinced that these four things were not accurate?
No. Because I mean, by the way, if at 14 years old, probably like 20, maybe 22. Right? No, absolutely not now.
Okay, then I don't want to talk about it, because that tells me that this is not the real reason. So tell me why you're a Muslim.
The Kedusha popping off the page.
So if
holiness. Sorry, that's a Hebrew word.
Right.
It's found in Arabic too. Kudus is holy, but yeah, it's one of the names of God.
So if, let's say, a year from now, the holiness did not pop off the page for you, would you leave Islam?
Yeah, but I mean, I would have to stop seeing the Genesis. So, and then also probably the New Testament. So you would have to go on a camping trip with me and like wear me down, while kayaking and skiing and all that.
But is that a yes? Like if a year from now you didn't sense that there was holiness popping off the pages, you leave Islam?
Yeah, theism, right? I mean, I wouldn't have a reason really to. I mean, there's other things like the way the book interacts with my life and the way my life actually lines up. Hard to I mean, okay, I'll give you an example. I mean, my life is full of these things, and I believe everyone's is. They just aren't paying attention. So, but the way everyone like life comes around full circle, or there's that expression that life imitates art. Those kind of eerie occurrences, they would point me to God, even if I didn't have holy books with the Kedusha popping off the page.
Okay, holiness. So now we got two things at play here. We got things popping off the pages, the holiness, and we got nature in general, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right, my life popping up with incredible ironies and coincidences.
Okay, so which one is more important to you? Out of those two, which one do you think is stronger for you?
No. Okay, yeah, no, that's a really, really insightful question. You're deep. So now here's the thing. I mentioned before, I hate ritual prayer, right? Like even like the idea of going to mass every week is kind of anathema to me. But the thing is that the ritual is needed to. Okay, you can have a holy experience in your life, but the reason ritual is created, right? And this is the religion where you're talking, is that you have to like re-bring the holiness into your life regularly, like weekly, monthly, yearly.
Okay,
go on a pilgrimage.
What you just said is you have to bring the holiness in your life,
right?
So aren't you the creator of the holiness and not some deity?
Okay, but the crux of this matter would be, did these men and women actually come to Earth with a message from another realm? And does that have guidance for us? Okay. And so now most people are not capable of high levels of religious experience, right? And most people will never have one. So that's why we have ritual, is because, things we're reminded of, for example, if you look at Catholic Mass, it's just, it's going up.
I'm not sure why you're talking about ritual, because aren't we talking about the reasons why you are a Muslim?
Yes. So you said, which is more important, life experience or the Holy Book? And so the Holy Book kind of takes the place of ritual, right? So like, okay, what if my life experience isn't like ecstatic right now, right? Then you go to the Holy Book to bring the Kedusha into your life. But then, you feel ecstatic again, so you don't really need the Holy Book at that time, so you, like you said, you are the source of the Kedusha, which is a very interesting way to put it.
So you are the source of the holiness that you read off in the text. Okay, now,
I mean,
why do you believe that a deity has
in the sense? No, but I mean, you could consider that Christification or some kind of deification or something. In other words, like some attribute of God, like His graciousness, mercy is acting through you. Like that's what I'm saying. Anyway, I mean, I don't mean to be facetious, but
Well,
that's how you
were starting to talk about, well, the real issue is whether God sent certain prophets or whatever, or certain people to write these words.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's moral instruction too, but I mean, it's not just the words. Like, actually, there's community, scripture, and prophet.
So, do you believe that a God, Allah, told Gabriel to tell Muhammad in a cave over several years stuff?
Right.
You do believe that?
Yes.
Why?
So, like I said, I've examined the text, and it has unique features in it, but it's a very rewarding. I mean, the more I've jumped into the text, the more rewarding it is for me.
Okay, but we can say that about any religion, their adherents finding it rewarding. That doesn't mean it's true, correct?
I mean, I'm not gonna, Rabbi Wolpe says something wonderful when asked about, he was asked in his debate with Sam Harris, why I should believe in Judaism over all the other religions. And he said, I'm not here to argue the supremacy of Judaism, only its excellence.
Okay, but we're talking about why you believe it's actually true, and why God would send an angel to talk to a guy named Muhammad to tell others to write it down for him. Why do you believe any of that's true?
Peace be upon him.
Why do you believe any of that's true?
I mean, okay, so
you mentioned four. I'm going to help you out here. You mentioned like there's 4 things
in the Quran.
Yeah, that seem like it's
embryology, mountains,
but even
meteorites.
Okay, well, with embryology, you said even the Greeks had something like that before, so we can throw that one off to the side, right? Okay. And then I just off the top of my head found a problem with this iron coming from the heavens, because it's not really heavens, it comes from space.
I'm not C.S. Lewis discarded image. The sky is the firmament, the heaven is the outer space. I don't mean to be pedantic. Okay, let's continue.
But even then,
yes. 3 points.
Even then, you agreed that it was a gracious, generous interpretation.
Generous, very exceeding generous.
Which probably a non-Muslim wouldn't give you, right?
No.
So if it's not good enough for people looking at this objectively, not being raised in it, why is it good enough for you?
Yeah, no, but like I said, at the time though, I was engaged in Christian polemics, so it was more of that kind of exalting supremacy, and again, and like you said, because I don't believe it anymore, you don't want to talk about it. But that's why I said it's more the Kedusha now. But as a kid, it was more like the simplistic arguments that you would get. I don't want to diss my Muslim brothers, but like E.F. Dawa, like when they had Nathan on, and they just gave him 3 hours of like the most boring, like straight edge propaganda that you could. There wasn't even a single. It was like, one thing I really object, when how religious people preach, right, is that like they're just reciting off like whatever history. They don't even engage with you like, hey, how do you think about this? Or like, do you think about, well, have you heard about this before? It's like they're just here to put it all in your brain and like win the argument. It's like it's there's no heart in mind involved.
With those 4 things you were talking about, which is down to 3 because you agreed to that with the Greeks. I said, let's not talk about it because I asked you, well, if these things didn't exist at all, would you still be a Muslim? You said yes. So that told me this wasn't the real reason you're a Muslim.
Right.
So,
no, but there's a lifetime involved, right? Like you get deeper and deeper into the text, and so you're enmeshed in meaning. And actually, this is something. Let me throw you a bone over here, right? Because I think the last time you and Rob spoke, right, and we both love you, by the way. So he said Moby Dick will give you the meaning, so he doesn't buy the meaning argument. That's where I would actually disagree with Rob. So but I haven't read all of Moby Dick.
Sorry, but why were we talking about this?
Okay, right. So you know how I said it's Kedusha popping off the page, right? Why is? Let me explain why there's holiness popping off the page, right? Because that's a really subjective.
Which you also said comes from yourself. I think you're the one who.
Right. There's an experiential thing involved too. Like, I mean,
Okay, but tell me why you believe that there's holiness popping off the page.
Okay, so and this kind of relates to Moby Dick, right? So they say in fiction that like if you have a gun in the first act, you're gonna have a murder in the third act or the second act or whatever, right? So it's like it's kind of, it makes like from a play narrative kind of perspective, right? There's a certain way that it works. Now imagine a text that is like, you know, there's ironies and coincidences in any great fiction text. But if you take a holy text, it's just so amplified, the meanings and the I don't want to coin the term, but ironies and coincidences involved.
Do you think it's amplified to a guy like me?
I mean,
like if I read,
I don't want to say anything.
If I read a great novel, and I see irony, and great literary devices.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad you said that. Moby Dick will give it to you, right? Because you know why? Moby Dick, like I'm told, there's everything in there. There's life. There's money. There's like, I don't know, I think there's prostitution, but like, you know, or like Jordan Peterson always talks about the Dostoevsky novels or something. But like, so that kind of fiction is a work of genius, right? But now, if you look at the holy texts that have been preserved by mankind, they're exponentially like beyond Dostoevsky and.
But do you think I would see it as exponentially beyond?
I mean,
probably not, right?
No.
Why do you think you see it as exponentially beyond, way greater than these fictional works, and a guy like me not?
Okay. So let me concede to you. Okay, and let me just preface it. I think like Richard Dawkins, he said that no one's a complete atheist. There's always a spectrum, and I find that really useful, you know, because it's like, and also as a theist, right? And I think like we should admit, you know, and I think like I think SJ was talking about this today on her show, but she didn't appreciate how like one time she gave a lower number, and then later she said 100%, and then you challenged her on the 100%. So I say that I try to keep my number at exactly 50%. Not even 50.5, 49.5, but like exactly 50%. I really try to look at the world from an atheist point of view, and I try to look at the consequences of my actions. If I be, you know,
wait a minute, 50% represents what exactly?
Okay, well, what I'm saying is though, okay, for example, the Gospel of John says that no man has seen God, right? So when I come on your show saying I'm a theist and I'm not scared to defend my views, I have not seen God. So therefore, I'm inherently here asserting something that I have not seen. So therefore, that's kind of what I'm saying. And so therefore, if you ask me what's my certainty, it's 50-50. In the sense that I think in the sense that like if I look at all the evidence before me, right? Either there's a creator who set all things into motion and like created my life to be as wonderful and miraculous as it is today. Or my life is just great because I live in a first world country.
Are you 50?
It's not a big deal.
Are you 50-50 on any type of God existing, or are you 50-50 on Islam being true?
Yeah, no, it would have to be the old the Judeo-Christian Islamic God, like that guy.
You're 50-50 on Islam, basically.
Well, what I'm saying is the evidence for such a God at most is 50-50.
And what's your personal confidence in Allah? Is it 50-50?
No, so I look at the fact that 50-50 is so extraordinary that I have supreme confidence.
Do you have supreme confidence when you flip a coin? Because that's 50-50.
That's no. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Imagine if and this is when somebody gave me this argument on Discord, I was very upset with them because I thought they were being pedantic. But the coin could also land on its side. So when you look at the scientific evidence, right? Like for example, you know, we live on a planet that is, you know, like I don't want to bore you, okay? So, but you know, like to give a concrete example, on Rob's show we have Hugh Ross, right? He talks about the amount of thorium in our core and potassium, and these are These are not normally radioactive, but because of the way the Earth was formed, our core is radioactive to keep hot enough and spinning for tens of millions of years. So basically, if our core stopped spinning tens of millions of years ago, we would have never had human life. You know, we might have had dinosaurs.
But we're not talking about. We're talking about you said you're 50-50 on.
So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the evidence of God is 50-50. Like, and that Hugh Ross fact that thorium and potassium in our core is so miraculous from the supernova that broke up like 10 million years
But
before
Anam, this is what I'm not getting. If
Okay.
the evidence is 50-50, in other words, could go either way,
Right.
why are you supremely confident? Like, are you
Right.
supremely
like I
confident
said-
if I flip a coin that it's going to be heads? Like, would you be willing to wager your life
No.
savings on it?
No.
So if you're not supremely confident on flipping a coin, why are you
Right.
supremely confident in Islam or Allah?
Good, very insightful. Okay, so because that's the mathematical component of this equation, right? But the other component is then like when I have a doubt, right? Like for example, okay, when making life decisions, sometimes like you want to kind of do the right thing, right? So you could easily give in. I don't know. Like, okay, let me give you an example.
Why are you supremely confident in Allah?
Okay. It's because, like I said, the life experience, a subjective component, tells me that my life is too miraculous to be, and with all due respect to the atheist position, I've been told this is a straw man, but to believe that this is all an accident.
Okay, but a God could exist and Islam still false, correct?
Islam still false?
A God could exist and Islam still false. Do you agree?
Oh, Islam's still incorrect. Okay, right, yeah. Yeah, true. It could be Christianity or Judaism.
So why are you supremely confident in Islam if it's a 50-50 based on evidence?
Okay, great. Okay, so you like church history?
No.
Okay, so I will be very sketch and brief. Okay, so you have early Christianity rise after the crucifixion, and then you have the Council of Nicaea around the year 300. You have St. Augustine writing in the 400s. And what happens is there's several Gnostic sects which are suppressed. And also, I was learning the School of Alexandria began to lose prominence, which is always the intellectual school, and it had a lot of Philo and Plato involved. And so what basically happened was Christianity kind of went on a rampage and started declaring everybody to be a heretic, from Alexandria to Constantinople.
You're going to tie this into Islam eventually, right?
Right now.
Okay.
And so what happened was all these suppressed movements more or less, gave power and influence to Islam, but also for the most part, and again, certainly as a teenager, the doctrines of Islam are more theologically correct in the sense that, for example, than many Christian ideas that are quibbled over. Like for example, anyway. So in other words, like I would clearly see how, historically speaking, one group of people coming out of South Asia would say, yeah, we don't want to rely on this book for our theology. We think we have a better grasp of theology using this book. And so, yeah, I think for the most part, the theology is correct. And what's interesting is that later Judaism and Christianity borrowed many Islamic ideas. So, Islam was kind of like the originator. Like, for example, divorce was not even allowed,
Okay, I want to repeat back. I'm going to try to repeat back. I asked you, why are you supremely confident that Islam is true? And I'm hearing your answer is because it's more theologically correct than Christianity.
Right.
But couldn't you have two fictional novels and one be more, let's say, historically accurate than the other fictional? But they're both still basically fiction. Correct?
I mean, okay, but you're asking me today, right? So when I evaluate both texts, they're both sound. I mean, I love them both. I read them both every day. Okay,
but you can love fiction.
I mean, okay, but it guides my life in a way that fundamentally connects
things that are false can also guide people's lives.
Yes, and so that is something to always be wary of, that you should not fall into a cult of personality or a cult where you lose all your money.
But it can't be evidence that points you that Islam is true, because you said it's 50-50. So I'm still perplexed on why you're supremely confident in Islam. It can't be the evidence.
Right. I would just preface, though, I said, though, the fact that it's 50-50 is kind of astonishing. like kind of blows my mind. In other words, like, you know, like Jekyll and Hyde, or like you could wear a different hat. Like I could just as easily put on an atheist hat. And I mean, arguably, I don't know. I was kind of a promiscuous in my 20s, you know? So one could argue I was behaving in a very libertine fashion, right? It certainly wasn't any kind of theism bounds me to any kind of moral code. Like I didn't have that problem. Like theism didn't stop me from having fun in college as much as I wanted. So, but do you? I mean, you followed me so far. Did I lose you?
No, you didn't lose me. I don't know where to go from here, because I don't think you know why you are confident in Islam.
Okay, wait. You're asking about Islam now.
I've been asking about Islam the whole time.
I mean, in a way, I kind of represent ecumenical theism. You know, when I went on Nathan's show, I just kind of made it clear that I was a perennialist in this sense. And by the way, Islam is perennialist, by the way. This is very interesting. So it says that God sends messengers to every nation. You know, so to me, it makes more sense. But here, let me concede something to you, right? So you have something to go on me. I don't have a great answer as to why Baha'i is not true, why Druze are not true, and why Mormons are not true. And very interestingly, actually, this is the point when I most had my faith in Islam kind of like shuddered a little bit in my life, was when my friend from Utah, he was not Mormon, but he was from Utah. So he when I pointed out to him that I learned that Joseph Smith believed the Prophet Muhammad was legitimate, he said to me that, you know, when you bring something new, you want to confirm what came before you.
Are you willing to say that Mormonism is false?
Yeah. Okay. Look.
Are you willing to say Mormonism is false?
Not publicly. Because you know what? I would not want to offend somebody's faith.
Why?
I wouldn't.
You would not say Mormonism? Watch, it's easy. Hey, Mormons, any Mormons listening, I think your religion is false. Now, I can guarantee you that the Mormons listening right now are not going to be that hurt by that. They know that non-Mormons think it's false.
But you know, like I said, when I made let's just say a career, you could say, off of assaulting the New Testament, which is something that I later wound up believing in. So just the preposition that something is true that you didn't realize was true. And I kind of just learned from a debate between Pentecostal Christians and oneness Pentecostals that you should never laugh at someone's conception of God.
I didn't laugh. I just said, I'm just asking you to say that. Can you say that Mormonism is false?
I answered your question in the sense that I said I wouldn't say it publicly, because again, not to offend anyone's feelings, you know, because that could be someone's deep faith and brings them, you know, incredibly deep meaning.
But you did earlier say that Islam is more theologically correct than Christianity. Yeah. You hurt a lot of Christians' feelings just then when you said that.
Okay, but I specifically I said, though, I could see how a group of people from Southern Arabia would conclude that they would want to rely on this for their theological opinions rather than that book. So in the sense that, like, countries made a decision, you know, we're all kind of living the consequences of that, and we have to kind of.
We need a speed round here.
Okay.
Do you believe heaven is real?
Oh yeah.
Do you believe hell's real?
Right. But you know what? Can I preface that? A mystical interpretation says that heaven and hell are states that we live in on this life.
Do you believe heaven is an actual place where spirits reside, or humans or transformed bodies reside?
I grew up with that belief. I just
need a yes or lean yes, lean no.
Yeah, I hope to go there.
Okay. Do you believe that eternal conscious torment is real?
I want to serve God and my fellow man on this earth.
I just want lean yes, lean no. Do you believe there's such place as a hell where there's eternal conscious torment? Ooh. Lean yes, lean no.
I grew up with that, but no. That's a solid no.
Solid no. Okay.
I grew up with that, though.
Are you a universalist?
Tough word, but I think yes.
Yes. Okay. Do you believe Satan is a real entity?
I grew up with that.
I don't need to hear what you grew up with. Just lean yes, lean no.
I don't know. They say no. all the mystics that I study.
Do you believe that Satan is a real entity?
I mean,
I don't care what mystics say.
look, here's the thing though. I haven't met the guy. I haven't met God. I haven't met, so it's like it's some, like I can study it on an abstract.
Do you know God's real? Do you believe God's real?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you believe Satan's real? You notice you said absolutely with God, but then you hesitated with Satan. Why? Now you can vamp.
Okay, great.
Why?
Great. Okay, great. Book of Job, and this kind of I undertook a Sufi reading of it, and it was the sense that like, and actually, if you read, I love Christine Todd Hayes, but even in the Book of Job itself, it kind of says that like because Job was being less grateful at each turn, that's why like at the end of the first chapter.
Why do you believe God's real, not Satan?
Okay, the point is that Satan might be. Okay.
Satan might be.
Satan exists because we have a false perception of God. That's what Satan would be.
Maybe God exists because you have a false impression of Satan. He's right in the corner. We can ask him. I'm kidding. Okay, let's get back to the speed round. Do you believe that?
Could I throw something just briefly?
Sure,
right.
Sure.
I'm just led by Satan stuff. I think like I understand why you'd be, and I know you're not really hurt, but let's just say hurt, right? Because we're just chums here. So but like obviously, I think most religious people would even say that like when I lied or when I let's say just stole money from my sister or whatever. Sister-in-law, mother-in-law, whatever. So, they would concede that something of the devil possessed them to do it, right? So it's not. I mean, I don't think even when somebody would say something that cruel, which I would never say to you, because like I said, to me, actually, you're Socrates. You're doing a social service by asking honest questions of us. So anyway, thank you.
Okay. Do you believe evolution via common descent?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think. The more I look into it, the more it's proven.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe there was a little Adam and Eve?
Yeah.
Do you believe Eve was created from the rib of Adam?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do you believe in original sin?
Muslims don't.
I'm asking you, not Muslims.
Oh, I have synthesized the Christian and Muslim idea of original sin.
I know. That's why I'm asking.
I mean, it's just how you phrase it.
Do you believe you were born with a sinful nature?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do you believe?
And that's why that's one of the points actually where the Quran is more theologically correct. And what's very interesting is Protestantism has embraced this Islamic idea because they don't practice infant baptism. So why would you baptize someone who can't come to faith? Do you
believe that without Jesus you can't go to heaven?
No, but let me preface this. You need the intercession of a prophet or saint, most people, to go to heaven. No one can get to heaven on their own merit.
Okay. Do you believe I'm going to heaven?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is, you give out money or something, and then were you a hedge fund manager? I don't know. I'm kind of a leftist, so I don't know where you got all your money from. Was it like, bankrupting companies or something? But anyway, other than that, as long as like your income was from like a kosher source, you weren't like,
that's how God decides who goes to heaven or not, where your money comes from?
Well, your good deeds or your bad deeds.
Okay. So do you believe people who go to heaven have done more good deeds than bad ones?
I didn't mean to make the Wall Street jab at you, by the way. So
No, that's all right. Do you believe that that's what determines who goes to heaven, as if you do more good deeds than bad?
Yeah, I think particularly caring for widows and orphans, also feeding hungry people.
Okay, and the really terrible people, what happens to them? So if your bad deeds outweigh the good ones, what happens to them when they die?
I do believe in purgatory. Like I said, I don't believe in eternal torment. There might be temporary torment. But, I think, like I said, there's intercession. Like, for example, I pointed out to my Muslim friends at the mosque, even Donald Trump, was like Islamophobic, right? He might have given money to most Muslims wouldn't think that he's a great guy, right, or going to heaven. So I said he might have given money to like a veterans charity or something at some point. So what the Quran condemns is like rich people who hoard their wealth. So if he was generous enough with his wealth, towards some gracious cause, I think God could excuse even, let's just say, the Muslim God.
Okay, let's keep it on the speed round. My great grandfather was in northern Arizona, and he saw a little cave. He went in the cave, and an angel spoke to him the very words of God. Do you believe that happened in history? That's all you know at this point. Do you believe it happened?
Well, according to Muslims, the cutoff date is over, so you don't. But what's very interesting is, let me point this.
Well, hang on. Do you believe that an angel spoke to my ancestor in a cave in northern Arizona?
Instinctively, no, but you could convince me of it, actually.
What would convince you of that?
I mean, if he talked like in a...
What would my great ancestor have to say or write down in order for you to be convinced that was true?
Okay, so he's not here anymore.
No, he's long dead.
Okay, right. Okay, so this is... I'm actually glad because I kind of wrote this down. I tell people who ask me, who should I follow as a spiritual guide, or follow someone who had died many centuries ago, because this way you don't get caught up in cult of personality. Because if, for example, if I say I have,
what would it take for you to believe that my great ancestor heard from an angel from God?
He's kind of too recent. He's kind of too recent.
No, this is about 2,000 years ago. It happened.
This is 2,000 years ago.
About, yeah.
Okay, I could dig it.
You believe it?
I mean, like it's possible.
I'm not asking if it's possible. I'm asking, do you believe it? Now, if you believe in things that are very low probability, then that's okay. But do you think this actually happened in history?
But what's the content of the book? Is it history?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet. But the claim is this: my great ancestor went into a cave in northern Arizona about 2,000 years ago, and his claim is that an angel spoke to him the very words of God.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Do you believe it?
Okay, let me ask Claire. Is this Native American shamanic experiences?
I don't know.
You said Arizona.
Yeah, but no, I don't know.
I do believe in mystical experience.
Do you believe it was that he actually heard the words of God spoken through an angel? Do you believe
there is such a thing as private revelation? So yes, I mean,
you do believe it, that my ancestor heard from God through an angel.
I mean,
in a cave. You believe it?
Content. What I'm saying is,
if that's all you knew, if that's all you knew at this point, would you believe it?
I mean, God operates in the world that way, so I wouldn't be incredulous. That's what I'm trying to say.
But would you believe it? If you had to bet money on it and we had a time machine and we could verify, would you bet money that it happened?
I'm not incredulous. Sorry to not give you a simple yes or no, but I'm not incredulous.
So I guess that means you're saying
now,
it could have happened.
Here's something interesting, right? If you told me I had to give you $5 for this piece of paper, I would stop believing it, because I would say this is a scam. So I then there's a process going on, right, to go on to the legitimacy of this. Like,
what if I told you it happened last week? Would you believe it? Last week, my cousin went to northern Arizona.
Yeah,
and he met an angel in a cave, and the angel told him the very words of God. Do you believe that claim from last week?
It is. I'm not incredulous, but the safest thing you as a person can do, especially naive travelers such as myself and yourself, we should just follow people who died centuries ago, because that way you don't fall into a cult of personality where you're giving money to people who are frauds.
I have a fire-breathing dragon in my garage right now. I'm not joking. Do you believe it?
No, but I would.
Look how quickly you answered that. You answered that quickly. No. Now let me ask you again.
But is that a metaphor for a pint of gasoline? Like, why would you tell me something like that?
No, a real life fire-breathing 40-foot long.
I doubt that. That would be incredulous.
Do you believe it's in my garage right now?
That's incredulous.
Do you believe it's in my garage right now?
No, incredulous.
You said no. Okay. Last week, God sent an angel to speak to my cousin in a cave in northern Arizona. Do you believe it?
I'm not incredulous.
Do you believe it?
Which is interesting. Which is very interesting because I said no to the dragon, but I'm saying.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? You said no
That's
quickly to the dragon.
Right. Okay, no, but here's why. If I had seen a dragon, I would say, yeah, bro, I've been waiting for like someone else to see the Sasquatch or the Loch Ness, right? Because I saw it back in '80, But that's why. So I have had a private.
You've never seen a dragon, so that's why you said no. But have you seen an angel speaking the very words of a god before?
No, but I've had.
No, just like the dragon. So why do you say
I've had a divine revelation?
You've had a divine revelation.
Somewhat.
From God? I guess it has to be if it's divine, right?
I mean, it would have to be the Holy Spirit. It wouldn't be from the.
Can someone say they've had a divine revelation from God and be mistaken?
Oh yeah.
How do you know you're not that person?
Right. It's something to be very aware of. And so one thing that I always, one of the signs of schizophrenia is that you make connections that aren't there, right? But on the other hand, a genius is making the connections that we can't see. So, and that saying, there's a thin line between madness and genius. So, there's definitely a permeable barrier between people who draw connections that we can't see and people who are geniuses.
Why do you think?
I don't want to.
Why do you think you had some type of experience from the divine?
Because I was against the Holy Trinity. This is one of the ironies in my life. I was against the Holy Trinity and I came to it.
Okay, but the Trinity could be a totally false concept.
Right, but I was the last person on earth that you could ever convince because I was armed to the teeth against it.
Can someone be the last person on earth to be convinced of a false thing?
I mean, that's a really objective question. I think like I'm trying to give you the subjective thing. Like knowing me, there was no reason for me to adopt a Trinitarian stance. Like there still isn't. Like I'm not ever going to be. It's not going to be easy.
Because anyway, because there's not a reason to adopt something. Does that mean that something's true?
No, but.
By the way, I think we're actually getting to the real reason why you believe.
I think you think so? Because I'm like struggling over here. I mean, maybe you're having fun.
I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds and I don't know, it could be 1,000 people, and it always, not always, it often ends up this way. We talk about.
I'm a different bag of chips, though.
No, we talk about historical evidence, scientific evidence. We talk about holy texts and so forth, and then it ends up.
Right, I'm trying not to give you that spiel.
Then it falls onto the lap of personal experiences of deities or divine, and
I would not come to you with any other way. I mean, you asked me, like when you asked me, okay, I feel the holiness coming out of the books, and I feel like my life is guided by the Lord, every day. So, and
a
that's
Hindu feels that way. A Mormon feels that way, right?
Yeah, and so in a way, and Sufism, mysticism said the Lord is definitely guiding all of us. Like, I think,
if a Mormon says that they feel that the divine is speaking to them, are they wrong?
Yeah. Well, are you referring to the Mormon practice of like prophetic writing?
No, I'm saying a Mormon comes up to you and said, God spoke to me last night, but the God they're thinking of is not Allah. Are they incorrect?
Look, like I said, I get my spiritual truth from people.
Are they incorrect?
You're asking me to gauge something, and I've decided that I'm going to sidestep it. Let me give you a quick analogy. I had a friend who had a band, keyboard and guitars. He chose not to have a singer because he couldn't sing, and the band worked fine without it. So, I'm just not going to have a singer. Like you're asking me, somebody with a revelation last week.
Do you believe the God of Mormonism? Do you believe the God of Mormonism exists in reality?
It is very difficult to gauge religious preachers today.
Do you believe the God of Mormonism exists?
No. I mean, but I wouldn't publicly say that per se.
Well, you just did. Now, if
I know,
if you don't,
Torah moments, I respect you.
If you don't believe,
I hope you're happy in your faith.
If you don't believe the God of Mormonism exists, and someone tells you that they've experienced the God of Mormonism, are they incorrect? From your vantage point.
That's my answer. I'm sorry. I hope you're happy with your faith.
Okay.
Like, I mean, don't marry, don't do anything abusive or something. But yeah.
Do you care if your beliefs are true or not?
That's a really insightful question, and actually, it's probably going to be the hardest thing for me to defend because when we met the first time, Kamil was on, and Kamil asked me a question. I kind of missed it, but he asked me, which is more, rank these? Something is true, we don't know, or something is false, right? Like you base your beliefs on something that's true or false. Do you care? And I thought that was really insightful. And I think, like, I would admit, like, and this is kind of like a Jordan Peterson argument, there is a psychological component to religion that makes people immensely happy. And I'm not going to be so bold as to assert that you can't be happy without it. But I'm going to, Brett Weinstein says it this way. It does like very complex heuristics for people who otherwise wouldn't be capable of making calculations without it. But I don't know. Like, I mean, let me be more candid in the JPB and Sam Harris debate. I think, like, at one point, Peterson says it gives people meaning regardless of whether it's true or not. Because I think Peterson said, like, it would take me 40 hours to answer the question, did the resurrection happen? And so Sam Harris says, though, that what you're saying is that, like, you're smart enough to follow, like, the smart religion, the inside stuff, like, where we're just doing the Jungian psychology component, and everybody else is doing the lay believer fundamentalist stuff.
Do you care? Do you care if the gauge on the fuel pump of the airplane works or not? It's true that the gauge works. You're about to go on a plane. It has a fuel pump.
Yes, sir.
Do you care if that works? If it's true that it works?
Right. Yes, I do.
I do. Yeah. So we need evidence that this is why they do inspections and they check things, make sure everything's working on the plane. And so we have faith when we board that plane that it's going to take us safely to the destination. Do you have anything like this? We got to wrap up soon, but is there anything like that we don't
assert. I only have subjective arguments to give you. I think, like, if you really examined your life, you would find that it's been blessed, and you're a blessing, and you were created with purpose and beauty, and somehow you're doing it. I don't know, I mean, I don't want you too much, but I mean, you're a great person. I could just tell because you're not. I don't know. You're giving me a chance, which is very nice. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, those are kind words. I see beauty even if there is no God. I'm open to that idea. But even if there is no God, I still see beauty. Like, I don't think you need a deity to make beauty to be more beautiful. Okay. I don't think you need a deity to even have this purpose you speak of.
True. Let me concede that. But let me push this to you because, Dillahunty asks, what do I get from theism that I can't get from being a non-theist? And I would say, like, there's a certain, like, do you think if parents find out that their child is going to be deaf, that they should, abort the child? Like, is that a good idea? I mean, obviously it's an individual person's preference, but as a society, what would you have to say?
Deaf? No.
No, right? What about Down syndrome?
No.
It's not a good idea, right?
No, I personally wouldn't. No.
Right. So the thing is, though, Europe has decimated its autistic population and also its deaf population. And what's very interesting is that there's a certain deaf community that happens, and we're going to, with cochlear implants and stuff and abortions, we're going into a future where the first world doesn't have too much of a deaf or autistic population, and the third world might be where the deaf schools are thriving and flourishing. So I feel like when you have this theology of the soul, where God created us with such intrinsic worth, and that where you can keep where you would trust that you're meant to have. Anyway, I don't have any kids, but you're meant to have a deaf child. I'm not preaching to anyone. You're meant to have a deaf child or a handicapped child, and that's like part of the plan for you. So where I feel like with materialism, you start to see them as an inconvenience or just something that's
well, some humans are.
Again, I don't want to be aggressive here, but down the road of materialism and Nietzsche, you wind up with Nazis liquidating the disabled. And I'm not saying atheists wind up being Nazis, but I'm just saying, though, if I was a materialist, to me it would make sense. And actually, let me tell you this also. So when I was 14, I would think, like, when Bill Clinton was handing out free malaria nets, there's all this smear campaign against him to save children from malaria. me living in the first world, I was so cruel and selfish as a materialist. I was thinking that, well, it's kind of good if children die in poor countries because that way the population goes down, and so that kind of cold-hearted Malthusian way of thinking, I kind of partook in it. And I feel like theism kind of gives me that intrinsic holiness that comes from the theology of the soul.
If you became a materialist again a few years from now, do you think you would start causing harm in the world?
No, I don't think I, but that's coming from a theistic experience though.
No, I'm saying if you became an atheist, a materialist, or whatever, would you treat your fellow man worse?
I think, I'm not saying that, but I think like, you know how easy it is to like push a button and make a decision as opposed to actually like cause harm to a person, with a knife or a gun or something. Yeah. So it's like, I think it's much easier as, I don't want to generalize because I've met wonderful, atheists and communists and socialist anarchists, who served human beings, but, in a soup kitchen and stuff. So, without any, they were very selfless. But what I'm just saying is that I could see how a materialistic society might make decisions that, handicapped people are a drain on society. And I can see why, if you don't believe in the intrinsic value of the soul.
Do you believe apostates are a drain on society?
Apostates?
Yeah. Do you believe Muslim apostates are a drain on society and could cause great harm that have eternal consequences?
No, I believe in freedom of conscience.
Okay. But there are some Muslims who do believe that, right?
I had a big fight and it upsets me, actually. Right. Yeah.
But exactly the same argument you're making about some materialists would maybe abort Down syndrome fetuses because they're a drain on society. I think this is the thinking in many Muslim countries. These apostates, they're going to cause their children to leave Islam. We got to execute them. But anyhow, before you leave, would you be willing to pray in the name of Allah to light these up on fire for us? Do you believe Allah does miracles?
Oh, you want me to perform a miracle for you?
Yeah. No,
I'm not. You're funny.
Because you said earlier that you're 50-50 on the evidence.
No, that won't happen because I've never seen it happen.
You don't believe Allah could do it?
No, of course, the God can. But would he do it for me right now? Why would he do it for me right now?
No, for me.
For you?
Because I'll become a Muslim if you can pray to Allah right now to light these up on fire. In fact.
So was I boring, or was I
a little bit?
Obfuscated.
You jumped around from topic to topic a little bit.
Okay.
But it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I think if I look at your life subjectively, I could actually convince you that there's been a plan and a destiny, and that's the most assertive thing I'm gonna say. But like I said, it's an entirely subjective.
Why do you want to convince me?
Yeah, I think. Well, if you're happy, I wouldn't need to. But I think you're challenging us. Like, for example, so you're asking me to convince you objectively.
Well, I want to believe true things as much as possible. So if it's true that all is real, and if it's, wouldn't you want?
No, you're asking me to prove something objectively, and I'm letting you.
You don't want objective evidence?
I can look at your life subjectively and tell you how miraculous it is.
But wouldn't your confidence in Allah go up? Wouldn't your confidence in Islam go up if you pray to Allah right now and he actually lit this up?
I mean, to put that expectation on him would be like an absurd kind of thing. I mean,
but that was my question. My question is, would your confidence go up?
Okay, wait. Let me. Okay, I have been on a religious retreat for 40 days. So let me give you the answer maybe that you're looking for. I think at the end of that 40-day retreat, I think I could cause those matches to go like, but I don't know. I mean, I think like you gotta have kedusha in you. You gotta live like a super monastic kind of hermetic lifestyle.
The next time you go on a 40-day retreat, come back on. We'll pray in the name of Allah. Like, don't you wish there was better than 50-50 evidence for Allah and Islam? Like, we got 230 people watching right now. It would be amazing if I'm not trying to trick anyone.
No, I know. No, I got you, but you don't think like, okay, I'll give you a more concrete example because I have been obfuscating and boring. So in 2011, I went to Occupy Wall Street, and that was a radical protest against, the Wall Street bailout that happened after 2008. And I slept at the park. And so I went to a protest arguing against inequality. And
why are you telling me this?
right now. So
Why are you telling me this?
So 6 years later, I got a job at the SNAP office for food stamps here in New York. And now I serve the public, giving them food. So I feel like, God is telling me that you went to a protest saying you want to make inequality better. And my life has been guided to a place where, I was doing the math the other day, probably if I work every day, it's about 10 million a year in food stamps benefits that I distribute, so I'm a boss where I come from, because I try not to close any cases if I can.
Gives you hope, meaning, and purpose, right?
Huh?
That experience has given you hope, meaning, and purpose.
Right. And so, but I feel like my life has almost been guided, right? And it's like, okay, maybe it's just me. I'm willing to concede that. But the point is that the fact that I'm willing to concede it also means that I'm willing to objectively look at it and say, like, no, I think I'm getting like a wink and a nod over here from like the big guy.
Okay.
And there's dozens of examples like that. I'm sure your life is like that too. But thank you for having me on. I've taken up your time.
Okay.
Have a great.
Thanks for coming on. I'm on.
Take care.
It's tiring. Frenchman Fury, can I get some context on this guy? I got here late. He's an interesting guy. He's Muslim, but he believes in the Trinitarian version of God, the Abrahamic God. Am I? Oh, sorry. I gotta stop shaking my head. This whole conversation was he kind of wanted to come on with me for a while. Then we were talking in Discord, and so it happened impromptu. You're welcome, Will Russian cheer. Doug, buy some magician's matches and trick us all. That'd be funny. I'm not trying to trick. In fact, I'm gonna I should go back to the water, dipping this in water and then making it really. I'm making it too easy on Allah or God or Yahweh. I'm providing the matches. Really, Allah doesn't need matches. Turn the music on. Yeah, you're right. Imam is a very compassionate person. And when you're a very compassionate person, you're reluctant to say Mormonism is wrong. Or I believe Mormonism is wrong. Because I don't want to hurt their feelings. That threw me for a loop. Like, when I was a Christian, I had no problem saying, yeah, these other religions are false. Deal with it. Stop the music. How long have we been going? Hour 15. Do you think he will ever leave the vision? Hey, stop the music. That reminds me. Maybe we should do an experiment here. Are there former Christians who are willing to come on for a few minutes and answer? Because Dee the humanist, the secularist, what does she call herself? Dee the humanist. She made a chart for, remember I made a video on I can predict if you're going to be a non-Christian. So if you're a Christian listening, I made a spreadsheet. Haha, surprise, surprise. Let me go over here. Yeah, I'm willing to, this will be fun. This will be fun. So if you're a former Christian or a former, let's keep it with Christianity, make it simple. If you're a former Christian, I want you to come on and answer questions as quickly as you can. You're just going to be on here for like 2 minutes max, hopefully. And we'll see if this little quiz thing works. And if you are presently a Christian, I'll tell you if you're going to leave Christianity. This will get my my dopamine back up. So as you answer, I will enter your answers in a spreadsheet very quickly. I think I can do it in 2 minutes. There's 10 questions. No, how many questions are there? 17 questions. So I want you to just give me your first thing that pops in your head for an answer. They're all yes and no. Don't overthink it. All you have to do is come on, type in the whereby, if you're a former Christian, answer from the perspective of you just before you started to seriously doubt. And I want to just calibrate this quiz. It's for science. This is for science. By the way, I'm on day 28 of the carnivore diet, doing well. Still not sure what I'm going to do after day 30, because Travis challenged me to 30 days. Man, time goes by fast. Okay, we got our first victim. Are you there? Can you hear me? AK.
Yes, I can hear you.
Are you a Christian or former Christian?
Former.
Okay, so you're willing to do the test?
Sure.
Okay. Have you ever tried? No, be in the perspective of before you started to seriously doubt. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now you're the old version of yourself. Have you ever traveled outside your country?
Yes.
Do you have many friends who are not Christian?
Yes.
Are you relatively open to other people's experiences and ideas?
Yes.
Are you willing to learn the other side of an argument so well that you would convince someone Christianity is false?
Yes.
Would you consider yourself risk adverse?
Yes.
Does Pascal's wager seem like a strong argument to you?
No.
Is the traditional view of hell correct?
Yes.
Do you prefer to have people to tell you what to do or what to think?
Sometimes.
Have you ever said, don't criticize him, he's a man of God?
Yes.
Are you far right or far left politically?
Yes.
Are you greatly dependent on others?
Greatly dependent?
Yeah, remember, this is the old you.
I suppose.
Are you dependent on Christianity for your income?
No.
Are you poor?
No.
Have you completed more than 1 year of university?
Yes.
Which is stronger in you, your compassion or your analytical nature?
Analytical.
Are you above average intelligence?
Yes.
Are you flexible in your theological beliefs?
Yes.
Okay, you scored 16, and D, the humanist, thought 12 was the cutoff, and we're trying to refine that number. I was 17 when I did it. So 16 basically is above 12, which means that within several years you would leave Christianity, and it seems like you did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to record that 16 and then affirmative. I'm trying to falsify this quiz here. Okay, thanks for hopping on. What's your name?
Alex.
Alex. Thanks, Alex.
If you've got a schedule for your broadcast, please post it somewhere, because I always get my notification like 30 minutes or more after you've already begun.
Yeah, I know. It's yeah. If I ever do this like a real job, then I'll do that. But thanks, Alex.
All right, thanks.
Okay, let's do Joel. Or who was next? Was it Kathy? Kathy, I remember you.
Hey, I remember you too.
Didn't we go through this test with you?
Yeah, no. I gave the most ridiculous answers anyway, but I just wanted to answer. I wanted to clarify a couple things very quickly. First of all, when I said I was no longer a Christian, it's because I left my childhood religion, and that I considered myself no longer a Christian because I wasn't saved anymore. So when I joined the Presbyterian church, it was more like I just didn't consider my Christianity anymore. So right now, since I called in, I have been going through a hellish week of questioning myself and freaking out and a lot of problems. So I thought maybe I should take the test again as myself, not as my dream former self, which I seem to think a lot about and didn't
Okay,
really
that's
consider.
that's a good idea.
I'm honestly thinking I'm headed in a direction I'm scared of, and I would like to know if that's actually true.
Okay, here we go. So don't overthink it too much.
Well,
Just answer your questions as you are today. Have you traveled outside the country?
yeah. Well, for the military, we transferred to Alaska, so we went to Canada.
Do you have many friends who are not Christian?
No, still don't.
Are you relatively open to other people's experiences and ideas?
Yes.
Are you willing to learn the other side of the argument so well that you could convince someone that Christianity is false?
Yes.
Would you consider yourself risk adverse?
I'm not. No.
Does Pascal's wager seem like a strong argument to you?
Yes.
Is the traditional view of hell correct?
No.
Do you prefer to have people to tell you what to do or what to think?
No.
Have you ever said, "Don't criticize him, he's a man of God"?
I have.
Okay. Are you far right or far left politically?
No.
Are you greatly dependent on others?
Well, I'm dependent on my husband. He works, but other than that, no.
Are you dependent on Christianity for your income?
No.
Are you poor?
No.
Have you completed one more than 1 year of university?
No, because it was taught not to do that. But I did take a bunch of intelligence tests real quick, and I did, at least on all of them, score a little bit above average. Like, I'm not going to take it as a scientific thing, but
Okay.
I think I'm at least smart enough to go to the university.
Which is stronger in you, your compassion or your analytical nature?
Still compassion. But it's really close to analytical. I could be really mean to people and not mean to be. I don't know.
Are you flexible in your theological beliefs?
Well, definitely now. Yeah.
Okay. You scored a 9.
What does that mean?
That's below 12. That means that odds are you're going to stay a Christian.
Okay. Good.
So
We'll see. I doubt it, but we'll see.
Which of those answers were you least confident in, do you think, if you remember?
I think I'm least confident, honestly, in the compassion. It depends on the mood. I mean, sometimes I feel really compassionate and generous, and I never criticize people. I always say, well, they're this, but I'm sure it had something to do with the way they were raised or something going on. I always make excuses for everybody.
Hey, Kathy?
Yeah.
Are you a Christian?
I think I really don't think I am. I mean,
okay, this test just failed.
Presbyterian Church. I'm so guilty.
That's why I love.
So guilty.
No, I love science. I love experiments because it's shown that this quiz is maybe wrong. Because I don't think you're a Christian either. Because last time I asked you point blank, do you believe Jesus Christ rose bodily from the dead? And you said
no. Which I'm sorry, but no.
Why are you apologizing?
I have such a guilt complex. I was raised in a really conservative. Actually, I know for a fact, without knowing, but I know I was raised in the same church as Violet, because when I heard her interview, I was like, oh yeah, she didn't name it, which is actually more correct because they consider themselves not a denomination, but I actually named them a denomination. So I was incorrect. Yeah. I mean, when you're raised that way, a lot of guilt.
Okay. Well, we'll see if I can falsify this quiz with someone else. So thanks for hopping on.
Yeah. And I'll keep watching.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
We got Jeff. You ready to take the test, Jeff? Is it Jeff or?
Yeah, Geoff, Jeff, Godfrey, whatever.
Okay. Are you a Christian or a former Christian?
Former Christian.
Okay. Can you put yourself in the mindset of the old you?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Have you traveled outside of your country?
No.
Do you have many friends who are not Christian?
No.
Are you relatively open to other people's experiences and ideas?
Yeah.
Are you willing to learn the other side of the argument so well that you could convince someone that Christianity is false?
No.
Would you consider yourself risk averse?
No.
Does Pascal's wager seem like a strong argument to you?
No.
Is the traditional view of hell correct?
Yes.
Do you prefer to have people tell you what to think or what to do?
No.
Have you ever said, don't criticize that person, he is a man of God?
No.
Or something like that.
No.
Are you far right or far left politically?
Right.
Are you greatly dependent on others?
Yes.
Are you dependent on Christianity for your income?
No.
Are you poor?
No.
Have you completed more than 1 year of university?
No.
Which is stronger in you, your compassion or your analytical nature?
Analytical.
Are you above average intelligence?
Above.
Are you flexible in your theological beliefs?
No.
Okay, you scored lower than Kathy. You scored a 7, which means you should be a Christian. So I'll get some pastors to call you up after this interview and get you back. But this is good. This shows that the scoring system has to be weighted. But
yeah.
anyhow, thanks.
Well,
go ahead.
The transition happened after I left the country, so so that kind of, I was away from family and friends who were Christians, and yeah.
So if your answers would have been much different if we took it from the point of you leaving the country, right?
Right.
Mm.
So because right after I left the country, it didn't take real long at all. I just kind of stopped caring about religion, and then 10 years later.
Okay, so maybe this test still has some validity because you were still a Christian when you left the country, right?
I was, yeah.
So that would have become a yes. What? And you would have had more friends who were not Christian, right? When you left the country. Yeah, or no?
Yeah. More friends who weren't Christians. No, I was still hanging around people who were Christians at the time.
Okay.
And I had started college at the time, but it was still not a year yet.
Did your politics change after you left the country?
No, those changed after I stopped caring about religion.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, maybe it would have only gone up 1 to 8. So I'm going to, okay. But thanks. This is helpful.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Joel, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So are you Christian or former Christian?
Former, actually Mennonite briefly as well. So.
Oh, there we go. Where you're from, northern U.S. or Canada?
Originally Illinois, up in the Northwest now, but lived down in Arizona actually for a while too. Phoenix area. So you're in Tucson, right?
Yeah. Can you speak Low German?
No, although my grandfather can.
Yeah, my parents always spoke it, especially when they didn't want me to know what was going on.
Yeah, he had kind of the same scenario. His father was from Switzerland, and so he learned German that way. So it's funny. My sister actually got a master's in German, so they'll speak it sometimes, but they have trouble talking with each other because she speaks a very official high German, and he speaks super Plattdeutsch, so a little crazy. But
what was the name of the church you used to go to in Illinois?
I'd rather not give it out.
Okay, that's fine.
It was Mennonite, although if I understand correctly, they actually left the Mennonite congregation because they considered it too liberal a few years back.
Do you know what Bergenthaler is?
No, very long story short, I actually left when I was quite young there. My parents divorced, which was, of course, a major scandal at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Mennonites don't get divorced.
Yeah. So we had actually basically stopped going to my dad actually still goes to that church, but my mom and my sister were more just kind of like non-denominational Protestant. And then I actually, on my way out of belief, I was a liberal Catholic for a couple of years before I realized I don't actually have good reasons to believe any of it.
Okay, well, put yourself in the mindset just before you left Christianity, okay?
Okay.
So you're that old person now. Have you ever traveled outside your country?
For a mission trip.
Do you have many friends who are not Christian?
Yes.
Are you relatively open to other people's experiences and ideas?
Yes.
Are you willing to learn the other side of the argument so well that you could convince someone that Christianity is false?
That's a tough one. By the time I was about to leave, I'd say yes, but when I was younger, not so much.
Would you consider yourself risk adverse?
Yes.
Does Pascal wager seem like a strong argument to you?
No.
Is the traditional view of hell correct?
That's another one I kind of evolved on. I'd say yes-ish at that point.
Do you prefer to have people to tell you what to do and what to think?
No.
Have you ever said, don't criticize him, he's a man of God?
No.
Are you far right or far left politically?
No.
Are you greatly dependent on others?
No.
Are you dependent on Christianity for your income?
No.
Are you poor?
No.
Have you completed more than 1 year of university?
Yes.
Which is stronger in you, your compassion or your analytical nature?
Analytical?
Are you above average intelligence?
Yes.
Are you flexible in your theological beliefs?
That's another one I evolved on. By then, yes. But that had been a fairly new thing. It was just a few years before I left that changed.
Okay, well, you scored a 12, so that puts you right at the cutoff. So, depending on which way the wind blows, I hate to say this, but I mean, you could return to Christianity.
Oh no, not at all. At this point, I'm a staunch agnostic. At this point, I'm not even convinced that supernatural is a coherent concept.
Okay. What was your first name again?
Joel.
Joel. Thanks, Joel.
No problem. Yep. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Let's see here. Who's been waiting the longest? Strand. Hey, Strand.
Hey,
You ready to take the test?
let me mute my YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you straight off. I was a Christian for 40 years. I turned 50 today, actually.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yep. So, and before
50
you go,
pine points to you.
okay, before you ask the questions, I want clarification on far left or far right, because that's a little fuzzy to me as far as politics.
Think Trump, think what's the guy's name? The bald guy who looks like Larry David.
I forgot. Bernie Sanders?
Sanders, yeah.
Yes.
Just if you would vote for Sanders or vote for Trump, there you go.
Okay.
I'm not
So,
more
I
than
mean-
just
I
vote
mean,
for
you
him.
would
Like,
You would consider Sanders far left, in your opinion?
yeah, but it actually
Okay.
it's more about what you view, I guess. So if you don't view him as far left, or if you don't view Trump as far right, then I guess it's the key to this is just to give me your intuitions, your gut reaction to these questions.
And this is with my mindset as a Christian, correct?
Yeah, just before you left Christianity.
So I mean, that's why that's the hardest question for me, is because I probably would have never supported Trump while I was a Christian.
You're overthinking it. You're overthinking it. Okay. So clear your mind. So
Yeah.
This is definitely while you were a Christian. I want you to answer on that version
Got
of
it.
you.
Shoot.
Have you traveled outside the country?
Yes.
Do you have many friends there who are not Christian?
No.
Are you relatively open to other people's experiences and ideas?
Yes.
Oops. Put a no instead, but it's yes. Are you willing to learn the other side of the argument so well that you would be able to convince someone that Christianity is false?
No.
Would you consider yourself risk averse?
Yes.
Does Pascal's wager seem like a strong argument to you?
Yes.
Is the traditional view of hell correct?
Yes.
Do you prefer to have people tell you what to do or what to think?
No.
Have you ever said, don't criticize him, he's a man of God?
Yes.
Are you far right or far left politically? Gut instinct.
Yeah, far right.
Okay. Are you greatly dependent on others?
No.
Are you dependent on Christianity for your income?
Nope.
Are you poor?
Nope.
Have you completed more than 1 year of university?
Yes.
Which is stronger in you, your compassion or your analytical nature?
Analytical.
Are you above average intelligence?
Yes.
Are you flexible in your theological beliefs?
No.
Okay, you scored 12, which you're same as Joel. You're right on the edge. So this quiz would say that you're a toss up whether or not you would have left Christianity.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably why it took me until I was 40, right?
Yeah, it took me 40. Yeah.
But now it's what's interesting is when I was leaving Christianity, I kind of fell into that same occult trap where you pretty much look up everything into the occult. You look at these groups like Aleister Crowley and Golden Dawn, and looking into all that type of stuff. And now I can see how people transfer from religions. Today I talked to two Buddhists who actually, when they came to America, they became Christian, which that's, to me, is amazing. That's an amazing transformation. But for me, I could see that transformation. But once I became an atheist, it was like this sudden light of all of this stuff is just BS. So as what I'm getting to is, you saying I'm on the edge now probably would not apply in the least bit. I would say
But
now,
back then
if
you were-
anything,
yeah.
I'm more anti-theist than anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, though. Appreciate it.
Your score would have been much higher if we would have done it from today's perspective. But
Exactly.
anyway,
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, take care.
Take care.
Let's let Stephen in here. Hi, Stephen.
Hi,
Are you a Christian or former Christian?
former Christian.
Okay, can you put yourself in the mindset just before you left Christianity?
Yes,
Is it possible to turn your TV off or radio? Or no?
hello.
Is it possible for you to turn off your TV or radio?
Uh,
Or does that mean you have to get up off your chair? You look so comfy. Don't worry about
yeah,
it.
I'm disabled. Could you
Okay, don't worry about it.
turn
Don't.
that there? I'm sorry, I'm on a stream.
Okay, so put yourself in the mindset just before you left Christianity. Have you ever traveled outside the country?
Yes.
Do you have many friends who are not Christian?
No.
Are you relatively open to other people's ideas and experiences?
Yes.
Are you willing to learn the other side of the argument so well that you could show that Christianity is false? Or convince people? No. Would you consider yourself risk adverse?
Yes.
Does Pascal's wager seem like a strong argument to you?
Yes.
Is the traditional view of hell correct?
Yes.
Do you prefer to have people tell you what to do or think?
Yes.
Have you ever said, don't criticize him, he's a man of God?
No.
Are you far right or far left politically?
No.
Are you greatly dependent on others?
Ish.
Okay.
No.
Are you dependent on Christianity for your income?
Yes.
Are you poor?
No.
Have you completed more than 1 year of university?
Yes.
Which is stronger than you, your compassion or analytical nature?
Analytical nature.
Are you above average intelligence?
Yes.
Are you flexible in your theological beliefs?
No.
Okay. You scored 14, which would have been a predictor that you would have left Christianity, which you indeed did, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that shows the model's good there. So far it was falsified by Kathy and Jeff, and on the edge for 2. So it's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1/3 faulty. But thanks for hopping on, Stephen.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
This will be the last one, I think. Hi, Carolyn. Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you. We could do thumbs up, thumbs down. Ex-Christian Aaron was going to come on. Are you still listening, Aaron? Did you still want to come on? By the way, the algorithm for this quiz is not a simple. It's not simple. But anyhow, I still can't hear you. There's a little gearbox on the top. No. Just do thumbs up, thumbs down. Is that okay, Carolyn? You can hear me, right? Put your thumb up if you can hear me. Put your thumb up if you can hear me. Do you have your YouTube tab open? You look confused. Did you just swear at me, Carolyn? Man, a potty mouth on you. Stop swearing. Okay, we're gonna let Chris in. You can try to figure things out, and if you figure it out, oh, you want to try one more thing? But I must say, I don't appreciate it. Oh, there we go. Whoa, what was that? You sound like a lion. Oh, that's me. Okay, I'm gonna have to let you go, Carolyn, because we got 2 more people. Hey, Chris. Oh, I remember you, Chris.
Hey.
Now, you, if memory serves correctly, you're
I'm not a Christian.
Not a Christian. Okay, put yourself in that mindset. Have you traveled outside the country?
No.
Do you have many friends who are not Christian?
No.
Are you relatively open to other people's experiences and ideas?
Yes.
Are you willing to learn the other side of the argument so you could show that Christianity is false?
Show that Christianity is false.
Yeah, would you love to learn the other side of the argument? Are you willing to learn the other side of the argument so well that you could convince someone that Christianity is false?
Putting myself in before? No, I would say no to that.
Would you consider yourself risk adverse?
Yes.
Is Pascal wager a good argument?
No.
Is the traditional view of hell correct?
Yes.
Do you prefer people to tell you what to do or what to think?
Depends. I would lean no.
Have you ever said, don't criticize him, he's a man of God?
No.
Are you far right or far left politically?
No.
Are you greatly dependent on others?
No, not back then.
Are you dependent on Christianity for your income?
No.
Are you poor?
No.
Have you completed more than 1 year of university?
No.
Which is stronger in you, your compassion or your analytical nature?
Analytical.
Are you above average intelligence?
No, pretty average.
Are you flexible in your theological beliefs?
I didn't give much thought to them until, yeah.
Okay, you scored a 10, which means you should still be a Christian today. So,
Well, I guess I'm a outlier on the bell curve there.
So any Christian pastors or apologists listening, target Chris. He's ripe for the pickings. No, this was back.
My door's open.
This was back then,
though. I've had Jehovah's Witness come by, talk to him for about an hour. That was pretty fun.
Okay, well, thanks, Chris. Daniel, I see you there, Daniel, but I don't know if I want to do another one. I guess we'll do. But this is the last one. Seriously. Okay, Daniel, are you a Christian or former Christian?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, one more time.
Are you a Christian or former Christian?
Former.
Okay, so far all these have been former. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. You ready to take the test as yourself just before you started doubting Christianity, have you traveled outside the country?
Yes.
Do you have many friends who are not Christian?
No.
Are you relatively open to other people's experiences and ideas?
Yes.
Are you willing to learn the other side of the argument so well that you could convince someone that Christianity is false?
Yes, actually. Yes.
Would you consider yourself risk adverse?
Actually, I would. Yeah, at the time.
Does Pascal's wager seem like a strong argument?
No, I didn't like it very much.
Is the traditional view of hell correct?
Yes.
I like the way you said that. Do you prefer to have people tell you what to do or what to think?
To do, but not what to think. I like that to myself.
Have you ever said, don't criticize him, he's a man of God?
Definitely not.
Are you far right or far left politically?
Far right.
Are you greatly dependent on others?
Moderately.
Are you dependent on Christianity for your income?
No.
Are you poor?
No.
Have you completed more than 1 year at university?
No.
Which is stronger in you, your compassion or your analytical nature?
I have no compassion whatsoever.
Are you above average intelligence?
Yes.
Are you flexible in your theological beliefs?
Very much no. Inflexible.
Okay. You scored 12, which was right on the line. So was leaving Christianity like really tough? Was it, or?
Extremely, yes. I went through a lot of mental anguish on my way out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, according to this quiz, who knows? You might have, if something differently might have happened in your life, you might have stayed a Christian.
If my first girlfriend wouldn't have broke up with me, maybe not.
Oh.
Ooh.
The PineCreek theorem. Wait, you said if your first girlfriend...
I probably would have. It probably was inevitable, actually.
Wait a minute. Your first girlfriend was Christian or non-Christian?
She was Christian. We met in seminary.
And she broke up with you?
Yeah, because her dad told her to.
And that made you disillusioned about Christianity?
No, it was a few more years before I became disillusioned, actually.
Okay.
He was a jerk, but no, that was...
Why did her dad say that she should break up with you?
Because I was like 3 years older than her, and he thought that because I was that much older, which was like 22 at the time, that I'd be more likely to move the relationship along far too quickly for her.
Are you married now?
No. I've had a girlfriend for a couple of years, and I still haven't popped the question, so that guy was wrong about that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for hopping on and helping me test
Appreciate
this.
it.
Yep, take care.
Yep.
Okay. So I would say that this quiz, this algorithm is maybe based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 results, which is not statistically significant by no means. Got to get at least up to 30. But so far, it's maybe 60% accurate or 60% leaning towards accuracy. I lost something here. Oh, there we go. He just wants to sin. Just note that this data is biased as people who think that they can answer proudly academic questions. Well, yeah, like how many people have the courage to come on and say, I'm below average intelligence, or I'm just average. Actually, but we had a few people say that here, right? In fact, isn't there studies that say that people average to below average intelligence are happier in life? Antonio Sandoval, no, I'm generally against abortion. But I would never punish women for choosing to do so, or remove their right to choose so. Except for maybe, this is so rare, but if a woman who's like 8 months pregnant, 8.5 months pregnant, we need more samples? Yeah, a lot more. So Travis, what should I do after I'm done the 30-day diet? I know you're gonna say, keep going. Definitely need to get some current Christians to take it. I took it on behalf of my wife. I think I know what my wife would answer, and she scored a 7, which means she's gonna stay in Christianity. The 90-day diet, yeah. Poof. Thanks to my guest Anam for coming on. Thanks for all the participants in the quiz. Thanks to D the Humanist. Go check out her channel, D the Humanist. She came up with this little quiz and algorithm, and I'm just testing it out. Have a great weekend, guys.